are the bulwark of the North. Behold the unyielding motherland. Through the teachings of the Great Orthodoxy, this world's end is kept at the bay. Our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, stand united against the onslaught of chaos. With the strength of Urson, the mighty bear god, and the power of winter itself. Tear them down! Join us! Pledge yourself to the Ice Court! Defend the legacy of Kislev!
Love waking up in the morning to a new trailer. Feels good, man. Welcome, my friends, to the wonderful world of Kislev, frozen realm ever on the brink of annihilation. First and only in the wars against the Dark Gods. And we have quite the treat today, because we just got our very first glimpse at minor settlement battles, a bunch of new units, and lords and sync kills for days. So what we have on screen right now are the Ice Guard in the background, firing from the cliffside. We know that they will have a halberd variant and a dual weapon variant, so there will be at least 2 Ice Guard variants. And they're firing over the top of the Griffin Legion, the most elite and famous regiment of Kislev's winged cavalry. There's a generic Ice Mage Lord offset to the left, looking regal and majestic, and she appears to be directing a massive Snow Lynx Leopard Smilodon hybrid into battle. We got a glimpse of it in the trailer, but we got a better glimpse of it here in the screenshot and in this one. So this thing is vicious, dude. Like, that is one pissed off kitty cat, and it looks like it will be a single entity. Literally twice the size of a warhorse and a hell of a lot meaner. Look at those teeth. I don't think it fits the description of anything we know about Kislevite lore. It's not a Frost Fiend or anything of the sort, so I suspect it's a completely new addition to the roster coming with Warhammer 3. Certainly appears to be tied closely to the Ice Court, and it is likely a tier 4 unit, considering how ornately it's decorated and how deadly its first showing was. But I'm not sure we'll be getting any further details about what exactly this thing is until the full roster reveal. But I'm vibing with it for sure. It straight up tackled a fully armored Khorne Berserker and used him like a chew toy. That's not an easy feat. Of course, the Ice Queen Zarina Katerin is being a skater boy, she said see you later boy, on her magic frozen carpet ride, and she is going to be our first legendary lord choice for Kislev, while a unit of bear cavalry stalks in the background behind her. This is one of the 2 monstrous cavalry variants we're aware of at the moment, the first being the winged polar bear elite with goring tusks and armor-piercing bonus for large halberds, filling a similar role to Demigryph Knights, while the European brown bear or grizzly variant is likely a lower tier and a bit more readily available, but also will have a slightly different battlefield role. So while the winged polar bear lancers are probably going to be focused on killing high-value monsters and cavalry, the brown bears are probably a bit more well-suited for sticking into melee. But of course, a lot of that will entirely come down to what weapon variants they have. Usually, spears, shields, and scimitars means you stick them into melee with infantry and kind of just let them do their own thing, while halberds hone in on the big stuff. So polar bears, all of them so far, I think they've had halberds, but they might have some other weapon variants thrown in as well. Kind of reminds me of that old motto when it comes to bears. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, say good night. The polar bear variant is going to be the biggest and most dangerous by far, but the brown bears are still going to mess you up bad, and it's probably the difference between tier 4 and tier 5. Now this third screenshot is really interesting. At the time of me creating this video, we do not have a confirmation on who or what this person is, but it certainly looks to be a character of some importance, right? He shows up in the trailer, leading an army of Kossars, with a lingering shot at the head of the column, and he's got his own screenshot here as well, wielding a war banner and some kind of iron brazier in his right hand. I'm getting some serious Zealot vibes at the moment, kind of like a crazier version of Volkmar the Grim. but it's difficult to know if this will truly be our second legendary lord, a generic lord type, or a hero for Kislev. One thing I noticed when I was playing the Khorne vs. Kislev quest battle is that the Ice Queen makes a bunch of references to the teachings of the Great Orthodoxy, which is a new religious emphasis that will be fleshed out in more detail once Kislev is fully revealed. So this character, whoever he is almost certainly a high-ranking figure within this new religious Orthodox cult. And he's looking a bit ratty, like a Warhammer version of Rah Rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. It really was a shame how he carried on. I don't know what to say about him other than he really does kind of look like a ratty Rasputin. So place your bets now, I guess. Is this Kislev's second legendary lord, or is he just a generic lord type or zealot hero? He kind of does have his own unique look, but at the same time, I don't know that he really has a legendary lord vibe either. It's kind of up in the air. Just let me know in the comment section. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough either way. And then we have this awesome shot of Polar Bear Cav about to smash headfirst into some Blood Crushers of Khorne, while Zargard with scimitars and a Frostbear elemental pour into support against the Bloodthirster in the background. Now, as we go through this trailer one more time, have a look at the Onion Dome and the minor settlement they're fighting over. If this is a hint at the layouts we can expect when defending a town, I'm going to be a very happy boy. I want the buildings and the minor settlement to matter, of course, but there still needs to be a ton of open space to fight outside the settlement and utilize cavalry and fast movers, and that will be particularly important for a faction like Kislev, which emphasizes their light cavalry and their bear cavalry so heavily. So I don't want super choke pointy battle types here. I want to have a lot of room to maneuver and experiment and try out different tactics, and if it's just a pure choke point battle, it's not going to be great. But what we see here seems like it's kind of a nice mix between open land and minor settlement, and I think that's awesome. Now, as the Polar Bears charge in, we've got to look at a new unit as well. It's magical ice chariots, war wagons essentially, with gunpowder troops in the rear, drawn by yet more bears. So yeah, Kislev is looking pretty crazy. We have not seen their roster reveal in its totality yet, and if CA holds true to their marketing approach from Warhammer 2, that will likely be coming very soon, but a clearer picture is certainly developing. Just saw a gunpowder troop, a pistol that we've not seen yet, the Streltsy of course, with their two-handed axes, very versatile dual-purpose weapon firing into Khorne Chaos Warriors. We've got either the generic Lord Rasputin guy, whoever he is, the Snow Lynx coming in with the awesome sync kill, and a bunch of bear cavalry coming in behind. A lot of sync kills to go around, actually. Ice Mage alley-ooping it on top of a Bloodletter, and Zargard with great weapons coming in. Or maybe those were Streltsy. I can't tell, actually. I think those might have been Streltsy coming in with the RKO. Bear coming in as well. I hope that sync kill is going to be in the game. That looks freaking dope. And yeah, we pretty much got, I don't know exactly what percentage, but I would say we're probably at least around 70% of the entire roster revealed so far. Conspicuously absent are the Baba Yaga elements of the Kislevite roster. Hard to know currently if they're going to be revealed before Warhammer 3 comes out, or if they'll form the bulk of Kislev's first DLC. Again, we don't know yet who the second legendary lord will be. If it's this dude, that might inform what units are missing, because we don't have a lot of Orthodox units revealed so far. I imagine he'll have some zealots to help him out if he's a lord. If he's just a generic dude, then maybe the Orthodox elements won't play a big part of Kislev's unit roster. But Baba Yaga, the chicken-legged huts, all that stuff, it'll come at some point. The Frost Fiends, the Ancient Widow elements, we'll see some of that for sure. I think that some of that is being held on the back burner for now. So as we take a look at some of the newly released screenshots, there is one more thing I want to talk about. There's been a lot of debate raging over the last few days about whether or not the ice and bear concepts are being maybe taken too far, possibly pushing Kislev out of the grounded realm they've traditionally been in Warhammer Fantasy lore, and maybe becoming a bit too fantastical, a bit too Age of Sigmar-esque. Of course, there was that big discussion about the little Grom and the bed of ice it rolls around on, about bears being everywhere in the roster, about the little pieces of ice adorning the Griffin Legion, and the Ice Guard being clad head to toe in frozen stuff everywhere. And the word that encompasses this idea is Flanderization, which is the act of taking a single, often minor action or trait of a character or faction, within a work and exaggerating it more and more over time until it completely consumes the character or identity of the topic at hand. Essentially, the trait becomes so completely outlandish and garish that it becomes their defining characteristic. Ultimately, I think there's a kernel of truth to that here. I don't begrudge anyone for preferring a more grounded, less fantastical Kislev, and it's clear that Games Workshop and Creative Assembly are emphasizing the bear and ice elements to a greater extent than what we've seen from Kislev previously, than what we saw in previous editions of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. But at the same time, I think both elements are completely logical and in keeping with what we know about Kislev. And I'm personally loving what we're seeing out of the Kislev roster. From the mixed units that kind of emphasize that whole, hey, we're all in this together. Every able-bodied person who can wield a weapon and isn't old, infirm, or currently making babies, you better get your ass on the front line now to the freaking awesome-looking bear cav, the war wagons, everything. I think it looks sick and really fun to play with, which is ultimately the most important thing. The first half of the roster is very much grounded in reality and focused on the human elements. Just regular Russian, Eastern European, and steppe tribe looking dudes with regular armor and weapons. We've got flanged maces coming in to bash down a bunch of guys, dent their armor, pierce armor, smack people around. They look like they're just normal Russian guys. Now, to be fair, maybe not so normal just because they're all jacked to the goddamn gills. It actually does look like they've been on the Space Marine diet that makes your head grow and your muscles rip through your shirt when you're on flexing and stuff. But, I mean, these dudes are truly huge. They look more jacked than Korn's guys. But other than that, it has a clear emphasis on gunpowder and standard weaponry and what we've come to know and expect from Kislev. On the other hand, as you start to get more elite and into the special and rare category of troops, yeah, naturally we're gonna see more bears and ice magic, because those are two very important elements of Kislevite society, and they're extremely important in fending off the dark gods. You're not just gonna see regular humans fighting against chaos, you're gonna see them use whatever is at their disposal, and if you can tame bears and ride them into battle, you're gonna do that. If you can take ice magic and utilize that in battle, you're gonna do that. This is not really a new thing. It makes perfect sense that the elite bodyguards of the Ice Queen, who live in an ice palace, and that's very well established lore, of course it makes sense that they would utilize magical ice weapons. I don't think it's any more flangerized than much of the ridiculous stuff we already have for other Warhammer factions. Take the Casket of Souls, the Necrophax Colossus, Goblin Doom Divers, anything related to Skaven. I just don't think the more fantastical elements of Kislev's roster are a problem here. They're thematic, they fit with the lore, and they look cool. I think overall, there's a nice balance between the two, just like we have with their counterparts from the Empire, where they have state troops and a bunch of regular knights and infantry and gunpowder, but they're supplemented by ridiculous, over-the-top magic, demigryphs, griffins, and a goddamn Luminarch of Hysh. All this stuff fits right in my humble opinion, and I'm quite happy with everything we've seen up to this point from Kislev's roster. They're shaping up really well. Looks to be a dynamic and interesting battlefield faction with a unique aesthetic, and I am eagerly awaiting their full roster reveal, which will hopefully be coming very soon. For now, let me know what your thoughts on the trailer and reveal are, and I will see you all in the next one.